What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we've got a brand new video talking about one of the best opportunities in the stock market right now that I think, and I think a lot of people are on track with this as well, and that would be Plug Power, this hydrogen energy company that is also sells hydrogen fuel cells. Obviously, their biggest revenue model is their forklift business, and they are already working with the likes of Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, and GM. So they have big name, companies as customers, and they are continuing to move forward. And we're going to look at some of the fundamental things that make them a great opportunity, as well as their stock chart. And we'll start with that right now. This is the stock chart for Plug for the daily. You can see right now, this is something we're looking at. This was the bottom back in May 11th. It went down to like 1847. And drawing this trend line here, and we see we've touched it again last week. It would be Thursday. And then we had the huge earnings announcement that was really good for revenue. Things were great, but that was quickly just collapsed the exact next day, just quickly moved down. But we're looking at this trend line here to try and cement that we've found that bottom and are continuing to move upwards. Obviously, that would put the price for tomorrow at about $25.21. That would be the lower. Right now it's at $25.90. Who knows what it will be when it opens? But this chart is showing that hopefully we found this bottom and can continue trending upwards and not break this trend line. That would be the first step, obviously. But aside from the charting, that is just something I do for like fun to see how it works out, because TA is something that sometimes worked out, sometimes it doesn't. But the fundamentals never lie in the long term. The long term fundamentals take over, and that's what really drives a company. Short term, TA, maybe you can get away with it. Long term, the fundamentals and what's going on with the company really take over. And that's where we can look at things like this. The Tesla Gigafactory Nevada operations exec head moves to Plug Power. So they are getting people from Tesla. They've gotten a couple execs, but a big one from Tesla, someone who Tesla's scaled giantly over the last few years. So someone who has some experience doing this and can come on to Plug and take that same experience and move it to Plug and kind of make that expansion a little bit better, with a little less road bumps and stuff going on. So hopefully that's what we see with this move. It's a big move from Tesla and from Plug, so that want to see that move out. And just a little bit about him, he's a 15-year veteran of manufacturing and business operations. So Plug's been around for a while, but this will bring more, knowledge and head exec moves, and someone who can give more guidance and stuff. And with Tesla, we saw them go through it, something where people were betting against it, and it just exploded anyways. So maybe this guy can bring some of that experience to Plug, and make sure that the business sees its fair share of gains and can achieve what it says it is, because their earnings they've upped their earnings. Like every time they had an earnings call, they've upped the earnings for the next one. Their like outlook on earnings. And speaking of earnings, that's where we can look at the Plug Power earnings they had on the Friday, I think, or Thursday. They reported earnings, and they reported $125 million in the second quarter, and that was above the Wall Street estimate of 113 million, and that's what caused the big spike up. It was up like 8% after hours during that earnings call because they smashed revenue. But when they smashed revenue, they raised their guidance more than 102 million. So their 2021 guidance for gross billing, they raised it to $500 million from 475 million. So it raised it a little bit, nothing crazy, but it was still a raise. And then the big thing that people probably traded off of this to kind of think that the run up was too much was their earnings in EPS, like per share, earnings per share, came in at a loss of 17 cents, which was worse than their projection 7-cent loss. So obviously, earnings don't matter much for Plug right now, so that can affect short-term stuff. But Plug is a growth company. Right here, high growth mode. Expects to increase sales by a total of 250% in the coming 3 years. So they are planning on raising or doing better business, making the business expand, get more money, more revenue, and continue to grow. And they've raised their 2024 estimates, but that is when they're supposed to be profitable. So 2024 would be the earliest that I would say to see like bigger gains from Plug, or see the company actually like sustaining these bigger gains. So a move to like the $70, $100 again could happen shortly, but it's more likely to go over the long term when Plug continues to move their business model and continues to expand their businesses and make more money. That's the biggest thing. And right now, they're actually being kind of congested with the supply shock stuff, where it's just cost more to operate right now, and more it costs more for the supply chains and stuff. So that's where they're kind of getting hit there. But even in this article, we can see people like there's a lot of analysts that talking about that. We're gonna get into that, but one, Citigroup has their price target of $35 per share, and that's not, you know, that's probably about average. And we can actually look at some of the analyst stuff right here on Webull, and this is their ratings based on 23 analysts. It's a majority buy and a strong buy, so majority buy, and only 4.35% have it as an underperform, but zero have it as a sell. So that's a good sign. No one's saying you should get rid of it. And then this is their price targets. The low end 15.21. I don't know about that, but their average is $43.28, and then the high is $78. And this is 12-month price targets, so that's pretty good. The upside is quite a bit, almost double, so $43. The high, obviously, getting back to all-time highs where Plug once was, which was that $75 range. So seeing them 78, breaking all-time highs in a year, who knows? I don't know if that case will necessarily play out, but definitely in the long term, we can compare Plug to things like Chevron and Exxon, where you can compare their market cap. And I don't know why you can't see this, but Chevron's market cap is $196 billion, and if you take that 196 billion and give it to compare it to Plug's market cap of 14.72 billion, then you would get a 13.31 times, so 13.31 times the current price of Plug. So that would put Plug, if it can get to Chevron's level, of $344 a share. And then you can also compare it to Exxon here, which is 245 billion, which is big. Obviously they're a little bit bigger. And this is something I would more compare them to, because I think in a hydrogen market, Plug's going to have the front runner and market, the majority of the market, and be in control of that and making that amount of money. So comparing them to a Exxon, where they're worth more than Chevron stuff, so they're a little bit bigger, but that would put Plug at 16.64x, which at today's price would put Plug at a share price of $430 per share. That's just comparing it to the giant oil companies and giant energy companies that are today. And I think Plug has the chance to do that, not by 2024. Probably closer to 2030 will be when Plug can see this big growth and explosive growth. But up until 2024 is going to be a rough road, because they don't plan on making profits until then. They're probably going to be losing money until 2024, where they will start to generate profit, according to them, their outlooks and everything. So that'll be a good move for them. And even looking at more analyst stuff here, there's more analysts here, and their low is only 27, so that's even higher than where we are right now. The high is the same, and average is about the same, but they do have a 1 sell rating, but 16 total rating, so a little less than Webull, but 1 sell, but the majority still buy and hold by far. And a neat thing you can do with this is look at the recent insider transactions, and that has majority buys. So there's been 8 buys and 2 sells, which is good, and that was at a higher price, $34. So with insiders getting in, they were getting out. You see, it was pretty even, but it was mostly selling done during this path up. and it came back down, and now we might see this transition to insiders buying, which is a good sign. Means they believe in the company, believe in the future of it and everything, and believe that it is undervalued at the current price that it's at. And just the news on Plug in general, I mean, starting to get much more coverage. Look at, weekly average, and it's above that. This week it had its earnings, that's why. But it's market sentiment, the news sentiment for the last week is extremely bullish, 100% bullish, and it's the sector average is 67%. So we're seeing Plug get more bullish. I still think that short term the price can move rapidly. It's a very volatile stock. It can go to $30, back down to 25, up to 40, and keep doing these moves. But overall, I think Plug has the chance to really take over in the energy sector. By 2030, by 2024, I think we'll start seeing profits, and maybe they'll do like dividend stuff once they start getting those profits. But I'm thinking 2030, they'll start to really ramp up, start to have those profits really solidified, and then start to implement a dividend like these other energy giants. And it'll just be really cool to see. And the big if is if hydrogen is able to take off and be a source of energy that people really use. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. Plug, bullish on Plug. I really like it for the long term. It's not something I would say you want to try and get in and make money in a year. That's certainly possible, but I would say the big gains are in the future. But as always, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.